let's talk about divorce dynamics. Divorce affects everyone. How crazy is that I'm saying that? Yeah, it affects everyone. Why? You could have a mother, sister, father, brother, cousin, uncle, coworker, best friend, daughter, someone that's going through it. Or you could be getting married. Don't you want to listen a little bit if you might be getting married, might think of getting engaged or in a relationship or dating? It affects everyone. Guess what? Divorce, there are many principles of divorce that come up in business. So I'm thinking of the beverage company, Arizona Beverage, and the two brothers that got into a crazy legal battle because it's a multi-billion-dollar business, and one of them believes that they did everything and the other one didn't. You saw it on Succession, where the main character, I forgot, the patriarch, he's got a brother, but the brother still owns part of the company. Like, these things do happen. And when you have business breakups, it feels like a divorce in many ways. Or some of the principles apply. The contractor, it's great going in. By the way, situations with people that work with you or that are vendors. It could be that you're dealing with a house and dealing with an architect that you love when it's going good. You love your contractor. It's going great. Then all of a sudden, and you love them and you're so happy and they're promising you everything. The house is going to be amazing. Of course, you could have the swimming pool. You could have this. You could have that. It's going to be great. It's going to be an easy job. It's only going to cost this. It's going to take that much time because that person wants that business. So in a relationship, both people are excited, and the person hiring the contractor or architect is excited. They want that business too. They want to get their house done. They're believing in all the magic. And then the house is done, and then there are problems because that's the marriage once the new car smell wears off. So now you're in a house and the contractor got paid, and it's not as cute anymore when you're debating and arguing because all the things that were promised, if the person who paid for it, it isn't getting what they want out of the relationship, then it's going to be contentious, and it's not going to be the same type of touchy-feely love that it was walking in. And if the contractor, wants to get paid and just wants to be done with it, then they're not going to be touchy-feely smiling, saying everything's great the way it was going in. So divorce affects many different people and can be applied and attributed to many different situations. So let's talk about divorce dynamics as it pertains to relationship and marriage. One thing that's very common, and that if you've been through any version of negative divorce and have children, it will probably be familiar. It's the competitive parenting. This is something that is very tempting to both parties in some way. It affects both parties in some way. In some cases, one person is the moneyed spouse. They can do more things. They can spoil more, or their parents can spoil more, or they, work in the sports industry, get to take their kid to sports events, or someone gets to do, has a fun job getting backstage passes to go see musicians, or whatever the situation is. And the other parent feels inferior. We saw this a little with Travis Barker and Shannon Moakler, where she feels like the kids have expensive cars and they're going to like Travis better and Courtney better because they're rich and they have the Kardashians and all this stuff. And then you as the public are seeing the kids really gravitate towards her and him in that side. And it could be for a number of reasons. It doesn't have to be anything superficial or financial. It could be that maybe the kids like her better, like the father better, or they don't. Maybe they love their mother better. It happens in a million ways. It could happen with Brandi Glanville. Her ex is Eddie Cibrian. He's an actor. He's married to Leanne Rimes. They have more money than she does, and she's got kids that she's close with, but that's a dynamic. So there's a dynamic that goes on with competitive parenting, and one dynamic is that one person feels inferior. They get frustrated. They feel like they're the junior parent. And the other person is flexing and wants to do everything because they're competitive parenting also. Sometimes it doesn't have to do with something financial. It could be one parent has a bigger family and they're really kind of like taking over. Like the dynamic of the bigger family is taking over because it's more fun. The competition is in fun. They have jet skis. They have a house near the water. They have a beach culture. They have more, family, aunts and uncles, cousins, and they're spoiling. And then the other family feels a little more insulated, and that can be competitive. Like one, parent criticizing the other, or competitive parenting, one is more involved. One parent goes to every single thing. The other parent may not even think that that's necessary, meaning, you're not a bad parent if you don't go to every single practice, every single game, don't have the chair, the right gear, the right snacks, you're the team mom, like that can be an overcompensation too. That can be something that someone's doing because maybe they don't work or they feel bad about something or they just love it. They could love it. You know, there are fathers and mothers that love their kids and the sports, and there are like sports moms, hockey moms, basketball moms, soccer moms. You know, these things are real. You're not a bad parent if you don't do all of them. And it can be overwhelming. Let's say you have a job. Let's say you have to support yourself. You have a job. You may have a different situation than your ex. You may not. You may value, you want a nicer lifestyle, whatever your reason is, and you have a job. Or you want to just have a job. You have a career, you know, and you can't go to every single game. You're going to, by nature, feel badly if you don't go to every game and the other parent is like coming in really strong. And often this happens after divorce. It's more common for the woman to see it in the man, but it goes both ways. So the woman takes the kid, takes the kid to the classes. You know, you go in like the little choo-choo train class, and the kids, you know, are like little, basically babies. They start socializing, and you go to the swimming lessons, and you go to the story time, and you go to the park or whatever. In some cases, men don't relate to kids until they're a certain age. Like when it's a goo goo gaga baby that's just drooling or a kid that doesn't do anything, some fathers don't relate to that. Fathers want to toss a ball. Fathers want to take the kid to the game. It is a gross stereotype, but I've seen it more often, okay? And then the divorce happens. And the father kicks into high gear and becomes super dad. Now he's on class trips. Now he's sports dad, or he's got a new girlfriend or wife. So she's supporting him in that, and they get to be the popular super couple that are doing everything. And it can be very debilitating. Okay, so I've addressed the problem. By the way, it can happen the other way too. Oh, all of a sudden now the mother wants to go to everything. And before she was working, and, you know, and the father, none of this shit matters, okay? Always keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the prize. You know what matters? This is the shit you tell your friends. Oh my God, now he's fucking so involved. You know what matters? Your child's happiness. If both parents being there is better for the child, amazing. If it's competitive and it's hostile and it's not great for the child, it's not better. Meaning, I've seen situations personally where there's an ice skating event. Let's say it's 10-1. Both parents being there is not better for the child because the child could feel stress. Both parents being together could give the child stress. They feel torn if the parents aren't going to be like right next to each other. The child doesn't know where to go. That's when you divide it up. I've had situations where I've suggested going to half of something and not the other half, so the child is none the wiser. They don't have to deal with anything like that, okay? That's when it's not great for both, okay? Or if it's going to be a small confined space, it's a classroom, you know, an assembly is one thing, that's fine, everyone should go. It's a small confined classroom. Parents can alternate. The child doesn't need 16 family members, okay? I've also seen a situation where there have been, you know, girlfriends, parents, grandparents, like there's a whole crew on another side at a birthday party or an event, and you feel intimidated and you want to not go at all because you just feel like you can't compete, and it's very sad. So you have to find your way. Now I'm going to give you the solution because just telling you about the problem, you already know the problem. You've gossiped to all your friends about it. You've talked about the problem. You've seen it. You've seen your ex be super dad. It's fucking annoying. All of a sudden, you saw when you were doing everything. Now it's all changed. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's best for your kid and your mental health, okay? Because you can't be a good parent unless you are mentally sound and sane. So what's going to happen is you are going to find ways to be organized about it and proactive about it. When you see that there's an assembly, of course, you're going to go, but you may have to do a little advanced work, get there very early, make sure you're going to find your own seats so you don't feel like an outsider, an interloper. I've had it happen at a communion. I felt like I was a complete stranger. I didn't know the time. I didn't know that it was even happening until a very late notice. Had to cancel a very high-paying speaking engagement. Didn't know exactly the time. Wasn't included in where the seats are for like families. So I was like, felt like a general population, you know, mass, like going to mass member. It was very. It's makes you feel like a total fucking loser. I've had to go to class events and there have been multiple people on the other side and I'm there solo or I bring an assistant just because I want to feel safe and comfortable, and I end up feeling like a fucking loser because I don't have a posse and an entourage. So you're going to have to come in mentally, internally with a plan and, a game plan, a psychological game plan. Nothing that would ever affect your child, because less angst for your child is better. So what I've done on occasions when there's been an exhibit in a small room, I've called a teacher proactive and said, can I come in, bring my child in early before school and go through the exhibit? Now, it's not perfect because you don't have all the other kids in that scenario, but it got to be me, my child, and the teacher, and doing a one-on-one review of my child's work over that year. And then let the whole circus come to town when it's the whole group. I've gone on as many field trips as possible. I've had to sign up for pretty much as many as I can because I've had a situation where somebody was going to the online platform first and trying to get up all the school trips. So if I haven't gotten in quick enough, I've talked to the principal or a teacher about, can I come in and read a story or do whatever the version of like show and tell is, or what does your parent do? Or can I come in and do bake sale? Or can I stop by? Or can I go to lunch? Like, you get creative, okay? Schools are nurturing environments. You will find a way to do it, and you will find a way to make it special. It's not unlike what I told you is fake Christmas. Fake Christmas becomes nice. You've got an early jump on it. You get your presents out. You have a nice experience with your child. If fake Christmas is the day after Christmas, maybe you're getting things at a better price. You're getting everything 50% off. You can get your kids more. You find the yes in this, okay? So it's the same thing with these events. I've gone to the ice skating event when I'm there for an hour and a half, and then I leave. And then she can be with the other parent and have quality time with them, okay? There are ways around this shit, but gossiping about it, being angry about it, telling your lawyer and spending money on shit that lawyer doesn't care about because it's not putting lit cigarettes out on your child, which is what is happening in America and what you should let the court system spend their time focusing on, not your minutia of your ex is now super dad and he wasn't involved before. Because I've seen it all. I've seen the man on the playground talking to all the other parents now, making play dates and plans with all the other parents. And you're like, but you know what? That just gets you aggravated. What does it really mean? I heard someone recently had a child in a competition and rolling there. I said, is the other parent coming? They said, yes, but now, because of course now. And I'm like, yeah, but she won't go to this part of it. She'll only go to that part of it. And I'm like, is she going to see your kid get the medal? It's 2024. Everyone thinks every parent has to be there the entire time with the whole circus in town. Like, that's not real life. You have to work, okay? I've missed things, not many, because I'm very organized about it. That's the other thing. You have to be organized about it. For the communion, I canceled a major high-paying speaking engagement. I've given up things internationally. I mean, I've not wanted to miss things. But also, I think it was a Wall Street Journal journalist said to me, never apologize to your kids about working. Okay, I'm going to tell you again. In the 50s, the moms smoked a cigarette, had a glass of wine while pregnant, let their kids out the back door, prayed for the best. Okay, see you at 8 o'clock at night. We spend more time with our kids now as working parents. So don't, because your kids will also emotionally blackmail you. They'll make you feel like you're just a bad ogre, heathen, terrible person if you're not at everything. You don't need to be at everything. Okay. You need to communicate with your child about what you're going to be at, and you be on time, and you be excited, and you be engaged, and you be invested for what you can be at. And if you know that, you pick a thing, like for the sports, for let's say lacrosse. I think there are 2 games a week on lacrosse. I commit to 1 game. And I know that the other parent is going to be at 1 game, and maybe they're going to be at 2. Congrats. I don't need to be at everyone. I commit to a certain number of those away, like tournaments, where you get the chair and the drink and there's 10,000 people and whistles going all day, every day, multiple days. Yeah, am I at all day, every day, multiple days? Not. I'm not. I'm there for both days if I'm going, if it's out of town. I've done that. I've booked the hotel. And if it's close to home, try to be organized, figuring out which ones are close to home. Your kid doesn't know the difference if it's an hour and a half away or 4 hours away, but you know the difference. So you go to the one that's closer to home. Like, you figure it out. But you're not supposed to be perfect, okay? And your child is not going to be walking down, the aisle to their wedding. The way that we were worried about potty training, I don't know any parents who are worried about their kids shitting their pants at their wedding. Same story. You're not worried your kid's going to be walking down the aisle like, you know what? I wish my mother went to the 2 lacrosse games a week. Like, I'm there a lot, and there are things that I do that the other parents don't do, and there are things that other parents do that I don't do. I was not the Red Park. There was this thing, the Red Park. It was like the regular playground park. I would go. I wasn't the everyday Red Park person. I was the water park person. I was the bubble show person. I was the merry-go-round person. I was the Barnes & Noble story time person. I was activities after. I took those kids to tie-dye jeans. I took them to make cupcakes. I wasn't the Red Park person. I'd go to the school picnics, whatever. I go to all the assemblies. I wasn't every person. Just not going to be every person. So pick the person you are, be the best of that person you can be. So the competitive parenting in the moment seems like it's painful, emotionally painful. Like, wait, even me, I couldn't compete with like the circus, like the theatrics. The like, oh my God, and let's play princess, and let's play Batman, and let's play this, and let's play, like I wasn't always that animated. It's exhausting. So like you feel like you're the loser parent, and you're not. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is not when your kid's 3 and in a car seat, you're judging everything by that any more than it's when they're 5, any more than it's when they're 14 or 16. You're in the long haul for this, okay? Competitive parenting is not really that real. Even when you get older, like you see your kids, yes, one's going to buy the nicer car, the laptop, the stuff. I get that. Nobody gets out without paying the bill. And it happens to where parents do it with other people. Parents want the doctor to like them better. Parents want the teacher, the principal to like them better. Like the priest, the rabbi. Parents, this is all stupidity. But this is what goes on in competitive parenting. Literally, I've had battles over a doctor, like legal letters, because a doctor when my daughter's sick is coming to the house, and this is not the doctor we've used, and it's literally a medical doctor who treats, many, many people for years, but it becomes competitive and it becomes a battle over stupidity. Like literally doctors, teachers, sports camps. We'll get into that next time, but like competitive parenters, if it's not their idea, it's the wrong idea. So you almost have to tell them the opposite idea so they go for the thing that you really want. Like your kid wants to go to sports camp. You choose Jack and Jill sports camp. Oh, it's not right. The competitive parenter, because it wasn't their idea, they didn't bring it up first, they have to knock it. A public school, a private school, that it's a gymnastics camp versus, making a home economics wood shop camp. It doesn't matter. Competitive parenters are morons. Let's do that. And I've discussed with you before something that's very important. Wasting your lawyer's time is wasting the judge's time, and it's traffic. It's a traffic jam. You're part of a massive multi-billion-dollar divorce traffic jam. Everybody lightens it up a little. Everyone's divorce is going to move more quickly. Think about that. People talk about parental alienation. I'm going to say there are many degrees to parental alienation. What it means is when one parent is competitive parenting and wants the kid to hate the other parent. It's effectively something people do when they hate their ex more than they love their kids. Now, it doesn't mean they don't really love their kids. It just means the rage and the passion of that hate and competitiveness and power struggle and wanting to win and wanting to put the other parent in the ground is just a stronger emotion. They just can't resist it. It's like a drug. It's addictive. But guess what? It happens with grandparents too. Grandparent alienation. The grandparents talk bad to the kids about the other parent. We never talk about grandparental alienation. It's a real thing. It's never discussed. I've never once heard one person talk about it. And you all who know that you're in divorce, it exists. I've heard grandparents talk about the other mom and being like, I mean, God, and she buys them all that stuff and they have all that crap over there. I don't want all those toys over here. And all she does about the other, grandparents do it about the other parent. Because remember, they were the parents-in-law. Many parents-in-laws hate their kid's spouse. So they were the parents-in-law, so now they get to trash the ex in front of the kids. I've heard it so many times. The eye rolling about the spending, about the new husband, I could think off the top of my head, the ex took the kids on a trip and the grandparents said to the kids, well, of course, because she wanted to go somewhere for herself. She wanted a nice vacation for herself, and your father has to pay for it. That's an example. Well, yeah, she buys you everything. She's not paying for it. Or she buys you all those crappy toys. Or she lets you eat all that crappy food. Like, that's so common. And then also the grandparents trash and the other grandparents. Oh, my God. Believe me, they're holding on to the first dollar they ever made. Oh, they waste nothing, or they waste everything, or they do this, or they live that way, or they live trashy, and you live like it goes on. So that's a loophole that needs to be taken care of, because if judges don't like parental alienation, kids spend a lot of time with the grandparents, and parental and grandparental alienation is damaging. And it's, again, it's the custody battle. It's the child begging for you to save them. Either parent talking bad about the other is damaging to the child. Either grandparent talking bad about the other grandparent or their ex-daughter or son-in-law is damaging. So think about the grandparental alienation or competitive grandparenting. Competitive grandparenting. It's a real thing. Nothing's more manipulative than the grandparent, because the grandparents don't have to do all the work. All they want is all the credit, and they're just in there, and they're bored, and they're older, and they gossip. So they do damage, and the kids know it. And it'll ironically alienate the kids from the grandparents. They're not tolerating that. They don't have to live there. They don't have to go there. They're not tolerating that after a certain point. And what happens is, when your kids get to be a certain age, all of a sudden the light switch goes off. Everything you just sort of said in the other room or in the car, or the loud shouting, or that your kids heard on the phone, everything crystallizes, bubbles to the surface, and your kids, all the puzzle pieces start flowing back in. The puzzle comes together. They now know who everybody is, and it happens. This may be the earliest it happens, but it happens at like 11, 12 years old is when they're not quite emotionally ready to handle the flooding, but they intellectually sort of understand that something went on, and all the pieces start to come in. Their emotions, they get really upset, they get really anxious, and they get really resentful, and they never forget it. And it's your kid you're damaging, so it's serious shit. I had an experience recently that I'll explain to you later. Remind me, we're going to do this on with my daughter, and how I handled a situation. I call it big girl parenting, when she asked me to have people over, and how I handled it. But without getting into too much detail, she really, really respected and valued not what I ended up saying in the answer, how I handled it. How I handled it, like the way that I handled it, that I was honest with her. I basically said to her, when I said no to her about something, and she said, why? I said, I don't know. I don't have a great reason. I didn't say because I said so, because I'm in a power position. I said, I don't have a great reason why no. I just have to think about it, because I'm in over my skis a little. Like, this is hard for me. We're getting into like the hard parenting decisions. And like, she respected that I was honest with her. And I didn't just say because I said so to be like an ogre. I said, I literally don't know. I was honest. I like talked her through the process. Again, getting upset about the competitive parenting and all this bullshit, judges really don't give a shit. So don't waste your money and your time.